Welcome to the NCAA Baseball Championship presented by Capital One. Game 2 of the Corvallis Regional on a perfect night for baseball in the Pacific Northwest. The number 15 national seed Oregon State Beavers and the champions of the American Conference Tournament, the Tulane Green Wave. Game 1 earlier today, a wild one. A roller coaster ride for both Nichols and UC Irvine as Edgar Alvarez launching a 3-run homer in the top of the 9th as the Colonels rallied from a 9-1 deficit to take the lead against the Irvine bullpen in the 9th, only to see UC Irvine, Caden Kendall, opposite field 2-run single, the walk-off hit for the Anteaters, and UC Irvine comes back for a 13-12 win over Nichols, so the Anteaters move into the winner's bracket tomorrow night, while it'll be Nichols having to bounce back in an elimination game tomorrow afternoon right here in Corvallis against the loser of our nightcap at Goss Stadium at Coleman Field. Along with Wes Clements, national champion from Arizona and a Hall of Famer.
I'm looking up to you for the first time.
You always look up to me. And our ESPN crew, Roxy Bernstein with you. Wes, kind of hard to top game 1.
Well, I mean, if you missed it, you really missed an incredible baseball game. And by the way, it's postseason, and that's where we're at. And this is kind of stuff that happened in game 1, and wow.
Well, Travis Bazzana, speaking of wow, one of the best players in the country, Kylie McDaniel, ESPN Major League Draft Analyst, has Bazzana as the number 2 prospect overall. He's definitely going in the top 5 of the Major League Draft in July.
Well, if you haven't seen Travis Bazzana play, you probably are not a college baseball fan. He has been a spectacular, sensational talent on the field and, quite frankly, off the field too, Roxy. Every once in a while you get a player like this come through a program, in Oregon State he's kind of had a lot of them. The last one was Adley Rutschman. How's he done? Pretty well. Travis Bazzana, to Roxy's point, top 5 pick.
On the other side, Tulane winning the American Conference Tournament last weekend to get the automatic berth. And for Jay Ullman and the Green Wave, tied with Florida State for the greatest turnaround this season in college baseball.
Well, Jay has done a tremendous, tremendous job with Tulane. And you talk about a club that's won 8 out of their last 9, including 3 straight wins against East Carolina, Roxy, a host.
So Tulane and Oregon State, our nightcap from Corvallis, and Travis Bazzana will be on display. The Aussie will lead the Beavs. Lineups at first pitch next. Here's the lineup for Jay Ullman and Tulane, and a lineup that leads the American Conference in homers this season. And you have your catcher who's been hitting leadoff most of the year, but a late tweak to the lineup the last few weeks of the season. Colin Tuft hitting 7th, and you don't see much, but a catcher leading a team in steals, that's Colin Tuft, the transfer from Virginia.
Well, Colin has, quite frankly, been the leader of this club. But you talk to Jay Ullman, his head coach, and he said, we asked him, who's the leader? Didn't take him a half second to say, Tuft. That's who he is. He's got double-digit home runs, too. He's driven them over 40.
So a deep lineup where you have Jackson Lynn, your 9-hitter, with 16 homers, including the walk-off to win the American Conference Tournament. Aiden May, a transfer from Arizona, makes the start. He is 6-0 with a 2.71 ERA. It's been a fabulous season for Aiden May, coming up from the desert to the Pacific Northwest.
Well, it really has. Anytime Aiden May is on the mound, he has the potential to go very deep in the game and have a lot of people excited because he hasn't given up a hit. That's how good this youngster can be on the mound. You take a look at his numbers, they speak for themselves. A very, very hard fastball. It's going to be upwards to 96, 97 at times. A very hard cutter, and then a beautiful slider that he can really locate on the outside part.
So the night game about to begin. Connor Rasmussen, the second baseman, leads it off for Tulane. Second team All-American this year. He's reached base in 12 straight games. And he takes ball one, and it seems that this Tulane team has taken off ever since Jay Ullman moved him to the leadoff spot. They've won 8 of their last 9. And he's been hitting leadoff now for the 10th straight game. And that's bounced foul. Rasmussen, 1 ball, 1 strike on the sophomore. It's Rasmussen, the transfer from East Carolina. He's from Fort Mill, South Carolina, which is not far from Charlotte. That one fooled him.
That's that slider we talked about. He'll throw it to left-hand hitters, down and in. Right-hand hitters, the exact same location.
Ball and 2 strikes. Connor Rasmussen leading it off for Tulane. And that's how our ball game begins. A strikeout for Aiden May.
Well, there's that slider, and he took a little bit off of it. I mean, he has this ability, innate ability, to take speed off the exact same pitch, and it effectively works like a changeup at times, Rock.
So 1 away. T.O. Banks, the center fielder for Tulane, climbs in. 14 homers, hitting .266 for Banks. A junior from Odessa, Texas. And that's a foul for strike 1.
Just a tremendous college atmosphere they have at Oregon State up here. Just beautiful. Pacific Northwest.
Don't think you could squeeze any more people in here. As a bouncer foul, 0-2 on Banks.
Well, this regional, what did Mitch Canham?
Sold out in 3 hours.
3 hours, right?
And they've added extra bleachers in left center, right center, right field line. And the best attendance west of Texas in college baseball here in Corvallis. Swing and a miss. May with 2 straight strikeouts to start his night.
And that's just dead red right down the middle after a bevy of sliders. And Aiden May, keep an eye on him. If he gets going, he's pretty animated at times coming off the mound.
2 outs. That'll bring up Brady Marquette, the first baseman for Tulane. .340 with 10 homers for the big slugger. That's ball 1 to Marquette. It's from Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin. Wisconsin State Player of the Year. Aiden May kicks in the 1-0. And it's 2 balls, no strikes. Mark Hutchison calling the balls and strikes tonight. Eric O'Shea, the umpire, at first base. Michael Banks at second. Brian DeBrouwer is our umpire at third. 2-0 on Marquette. And May missing high. It's 3-0 now.
Yes, you do.
You give him the green light.
Well, especially against somebody like Aiden May, when you know what's coming.
It's in there for a strike.
And I say that not sarcastically either, because when you face somebody like an Aiden May and you have an opportunity where you know what's coming, take advantage of it.
3-1 on Marquette. May, the native of New Mexico. And the slider is fouled off on a full count.
This is the thing about this Oregon State pitching staff. They can throw any pitch on a 3-2 count. The staff has all the confidence in the world in everybody that's on the rubber for them.
Back door, just missed down low. And a good take by Marquette and a 2-out base runner. The walk issued by May. That's just the 19th walk May has surrendered in almost 64 innings this season. So a 2-out base runner for Gavin Schultz, the third baseman.
Looks like they tried the backdoor breaking ball. That's Rox's favorite pitch. The backdoor breaking pitch. From a right hand to a left hand. I thought it was.
309, 11 homers for Schultz. And the third baseman takes ball 1. And Schultz, junior from Monroe, Louisiana. First team All-American this year. He's reached base in each of the last 16 games for Tulane. Schultz takes a strike from Aiden May. One ball, one strike. Schultz doubled his home run total from a year ago. He had 5 last year, and now 11. Late on a fastball.
So Tulane has the stickers on the helmets. Do you like those?
Yeah, why not?
Well, you just wonder
Well,
what
you
it
earn them, so yeah.
Well, but you just wonder what it's for. He's got a lot. I mean, you just wonder
done a
what
lot
it's
of good
for.
things. That's
well,
what it means.
You never know what it. I mean, exactly what it's for, right?
Swing and a miss, struck him out. 3 strikeouts in the first for Aiden May. Tulane goes quietly. Here come the Beavs. Well, Travis Bazzana, the All-American, the Pac-12 Player of the Year. Monster numbers, the all-time home run and stolen base leader in Oregon State history, establishing a new single-season record this year with 26 home runs, fueling this Oregon State offense.
Well, he's just a sensational baseball player. Every once in a while, you have somebody come along like this that you get labeled, which is not fair, that they can't miss. But odds are he's not going to miss. And then, speaking of can't miss, Gavin Turley, who leads the Beavers in RBIs, Roxy, just hitting in the 3-hole. He has absolutely been tremendous, taking up advantage of opportunities of Bazzana being on base and McDowell in front of him and driving him in.
Oregon State a program record 112 homers this year. As you take a look at Chandler Welch making the start, the native of Slidell, Louisiana. 7-3 this year, a 4.24 ERA, better than 1 strikeout per inning for Welch, son of a former major leaguer. And Dad also pitched at Tulane as Travis Bazzana takes ball 1. The video game numbers for Bazzana this year: 418, 26 homers, 62 batted in. 4th in the country in batting and tied for 8th in homers. You see the numbers for Welch. Floats it high, it's ball 2.
Well, you saw Welch's fastball. It's going to be around 92, 91. That's where he's going to sit. But the beauty about Welch is he doesn't walk anybody. So he can command the ball on both sides of the plate.
2-0 pitch from Welch. Bazzana takes high. As Bazzana has reached in all 55 Oregon State games this year. He has an on-base percentage of .581.
Which is numero uno in the country.
3-0, you let him go?
No.
Strike 1 to the outer half.
You know, the Beaver fans, they just don't like it at all when they call a strike on Bazzana.
Native of Australia. Bounced up the first base side, handled by Brady Marquette near first base. Take care of Bazzana. Out number 1 for Chandler Welch.
It's a nice comeback by Welch, coming back from a 3-0 count to get Bazzana just a little rollover.
So 1 gone. And that'll bring up Micah McDowell. 379, 6 homers for McDowell, the native of Nova Scotia. Been bothered by an oblique strain this season. The Beavers have been off since last Thursday. They didn't make the semis of the Pac-12 tournament as they lost their first game to Stanford and then beat Arizona State, but because of tiebreakers did not advance to the semifinals. Hard back through the middle into center, and Micah McDowell, a 1-out single, thinking about 2, hits the brakes after an aggressive turn.
It's such a great job by Micah running the bases. It's just a base hit almost to dead central, but because Micah is running so hard, he puts all the pressure on the center fielder, T.O. Banks, to get the ball in quickly. And that, just running the bases hard from the get-go, will put that pressure on outfielders.
Only 2 steals for McDowell this year. And the batter is Gavin Turley, the DH, 290 with 18 homers for the sophomore from Chandler, Arizona, first team all Pac-12. He has hit 6 home runs the last 12 games.
I'd like to know how that Chandler high school team did. I mean, when you think about Rock Chalowski, who was going to be a top 30 pick last year, who elected to go to UCLA, how good were they in high school?
Swinging a ball lifted out toward deep right center. Back is T.O. Banks. Reaches the rim of the warning track, makes the catch. And McDowell jogs back to first. A long fly out for Gavin Turley.
Now, in the day game that started at 1 o'clock, the flags were blowing a little bit out towards right. I kind of get the feeling that ball would have left a yard, but now
the ball was really carrying toward right.
It really was, but now you take a look at the flags, they're blowing out to left.
2 down, McDowell at first. Here is Dallas Macias, the cleanup batter for the Beavs. 321, 7 homers for Macias, sophomore from Parker, Colorado. Honorable mention, all Pac-12. Short lead for McDowell at first. Chandler Welch. The pitch. That's ball 1 to Macias. He's hit safely 9 of the last 10 and really burst onto the scene this year for Mitch Canham, as Macias hit just 203 last year. Former Colorado Gatorade Player of the Year. That's in there from Welch. And a fastball for a strike right around 90. 1-1 on Macias. Dad Gino played baseball at the Air Force Academy. Junior Welch just nibbles at the outside corner. As Welch, his dad, pitched for Tulane back in the early 90s. David Welch pitched for the then Cleveland Indians, as well as the White Sox in the big leagues. Throw to first by Chandler Welch. Second generation Tulane athlete and pitcher, Chandler Welch. Micah McDowell at first, 2 down, home first for the Beavs. Hit sharply to short on 1 bounce. Handled by Marcus Klein, throws on to first to take care of Macias and the Beavers in the last of the first. 1 hit, 1 left. Through 1 in Corvallis, Tulane, Oregon State, scoreless to inning number 2. The NCAA Baseball Regionals are presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Well, maybe nothing in the wallet of those kids, but that's Tulane when they saw their name called on Monday to make the trek from New Orleans up to Corvallis.
Now they knew they were in.
They did, because they won the American tournament. They got the automatic bid.
For the 2nd straight year they have done it. Last year they went to the Baton Rouge Regional.
Michael Lombardi, the DH, leads off the 2nd for the Green Wave. 5, 6, and 7 for Tulane. Matthias Haas, Colin Tuff to follow for Tulane in the 2nd. Sophomore hitting 286, a couple of homers for Lombardi, who also will pitch for Tulane. And May just misses down low. One ball, 1 strike on Lombardi. 2nd team All-American utility player. And it's 2-1. Made 3 strikeouts in the first for the Oregon State right-hander. Lombardi's mom, Mary, a star athlete in both lacrosse and field hockey in her days at Cornell. So not only was she a great athlete, she was smart. Or is smart. And that's low, and a leadoff walk to start the 2nd for the Green Wave. A leadoff base runner, the 2nd free pass issued by Aiden May.
And that's an off-speed pitch. Behind an account from Aiden May, and we talked about it. The Beavers pitching staff will do that. And they have no problem. They have all the confidence in the world and all their arms that go out to the mound. pitch here, you're going to have to be able to throw strikes behind in the count with all speed.
Grad transfer Matthias Haas, the batter. The right fielder takes ball one from May. 310, 5 homers for Haas, who became an everyday player toward the end of March for Tulane. Grad transfer lines it foul as Haas spent the last 2 years at Cal Poly. Last year at 325 for Larry Lee and the Mustangs down in San Luis Obispo. Began his college career, we just talked about the Ivy League, in the Ivy at Brown. And it's crazy because Haas was at Brown for 2 years. He played in 1 game over those 2 years because of COVID. 1 year that the Ivy League just didn't play, and then the season got canceled. The 2-1. And May fires low, having trouble commanding the zone here. But Matthias Haas from the Bay Area, from Oakland, went to Bishop O'Dowd in the East Bay. Runner goes, 3-1, and it's ball 4. Doesn't matter, the throw is on time for the out. It's ball 4, and there's 2-1 with nobody out. Back-to-back walks. So an interesting start to the night for Aiden May. 3 strikeouts, now 3 walks, and he normally has outstanding command.
He does. It's uncharacteristic of Aiden to walk anybody, let alone 3. You saw the good throw from
Colin Tuff, the catcher.
Excuse me, Rox. The good throw from Tanner Smith. Now, Tanner Smith has, for better words, kind of been the caddy for Aiden May. Anytime Aiden May throws, most of the time Tanner Smith is behind the dish.
It already ties his season most in walks for Aiden May. And he breaks that one in there for a strike. He walked 3 against Arizona State here April 5th. He's already walked 3 in this game. Tuft, 278, 11 homers, hitting in the 7th spot now after hitting leadoff for the majority of the season. Shows bunt, gets it down. The beauty of the third base line. Trent Caraway, not in time. They're loaded for Tulane. Walk, bunt hit. And Caraway, playing his first game for Oregon State since mid-March, was out with a finger injury. And we saw how this played earlier today. A couple of bunt hits for UC Irvine, and now a bunt hit to load the bases for Marcus Klein.
Well, we talked about the leader of this club, and it's this Mr. Tuff. How about the bunt? It's just immaculate down the third baseline with 1 out. But again, you get an opportunity against somebody like an Aiden May. Early in the game, you take advantage. You have to take advantage of it, because if they settle in, as we're going to get a trip out to the mound, but once the aces settle in, now you're up against it. But early in the game, you talked about some things that we've seen from Aiden May tonight that we haven't seen, quite frankly, the entire year. The 3 walks, couple base runners on, and then the leader that we talked about.
And Rich Dorman sees some things that he wants to talk about, the pitching coach for Oregon State. As Tulane has loaded the bases with nobody out in the 2nd against Oregon State's ace, Aiden May. And Marcus Klein, the shortstop, is the hitter for Tulane. 230 with 6 homers for Klein. So Rich Dorman, his mound visit, heading back to the third base dugout. Marcus Klein is 0 for his last 14 and 4 for his last 49. So a struggling hitter at the plate, the senior. Fall Creek, Wisconsin. Seen his average drop from 284 to 230. And that missed wide.
Well, now the Beavers have Mason Guerra at first base, almost in on the grass. It's not grass, it's turf.
2-0 on Klein. May has to find the zone, and he does. So the grad transfer from Milwaukee, Marcus Klein. They're full. Michael Lombardi at third. Matthias Haas at second. Colin Tuft at first. Bouncer to second. Travis Bazzana fields, goes to second and throws it away. Everybody's safe in air. 1-0 Tulane. They were not going to get 2 on that one.
No, they weren't. And to your point, I think that plays into why Bazzana's throw is on the first base side of second. Watch this. Hainline is just trying to catch this thing, but it's on the first base side of second base. And Hainline can do nothing about it.
Should Bazzana have gone to first just to get an out? I understand you want to get a force at second because it's there. But that's a tough play because he's pivoting and throwing back across his body.
If he makes a good throw to Hainline, you get the out. Right at his chest, you get one out in that situation, and you keep a runner off out of scoring position on second base. So that play all started with Travis wanting to get a double play out of a non-double play ball.
Jackson Lynn, I should say, the batter. 305, and how many times do you see a 9-hitter with 16 home runs? And May just missed. And it was low, but we're seeing Mark Hutchison establish a tight zone. 2-1 on Jackson Lynn. The walk-off homer against Wichita State to win the American tournament last Sunday. And that's bounced back to the screen. Lynn with 8 home runs in his last 12 games, and here it was against the Shockers.
They walk off to win the tournament. You see the dugout.
There's a chopped foul of the third base side for Jackson Lynn. But he knew it right away. The devastation for Brian Green in his first year at Wichita State. Head coach of the Shockers. I'm going for the low-hanging fruit. He shocked the Shockers.
You know what?
Strike 3 call. We welcome those of you just joining us to Goss Stadium at Coleman Field. The Corvallis Regional, top of the second inning with Wes Clements and our ESPN crew. Roxy Bernstein with you, as just saw Texas pick up a win. Tulane with a run already against Oregon State ace Aiden May. As Tulane low to the bases with nobody out and a fielder's choice RBI for Marcus Klein. Driving in Michael Lombardi, so the base is full, 1 out, top of the order. Connor Rasmussen struck out to lead off the game against May. It's been a bumpy road so far for Aiden May. He struck out 4, but he has walked 3, and an error helping Tulane here in the second inning.
Well, he's just threw an inning and a third. He's already at 41 pitches as well.
6-0 and a 2.71 ERA this season for May, the transfer from Arizona. Chopped to first, off the glove of the leaping Mason Guerra. Into right. Matthias Haas is in. Here comes Colin Tuft. Around to third, Marcus Klein. 3-0 Tulane. Fortuitous inning for the Green Wave.
Well, in front of the plate on this type of turf, it's going to spring. And you see Guerra, we talked about Guerra playing in early in the game, and because he's playing in right there, he can't get to this high chopper. And just like that, Tulane with a 3-0 lead, and still first and third with just 1 out.
And runners in the corners for T.O. Banks, who struck out in the first. And there's a bouncer foul right past the head coach. Jay Ullman coaching third for Tulane. 2-run single. Connor Rasmussen, 3-0 Green Wave. And the bullpen looks like it's going to get cranking now for Oregon State.
Well, this is all about pitch count.
And May, who has had a phenomenal season this year. Comebacker. May goes to second. And on to first. Yes! 2 double play. Nicely turned by the Beavers. And Elijah Hainline at second base, the shortstop with the throw. May limits the damage to 3.
Well, he did. And this is a big 1-6-3 inning double play for the Beavers and Aiden May.
Tulane up on the number 15 national seed. Early hole for Oregon State. 3-0 Green Wave. 5, 6, and 7 for the Beavers against Chandler Welch in the second, son of the former major leaguer. Brady Casper, Elijah Hainline, Trent Caraway for Oregon State against Welch. First pitch chopped toward third. Gavin Schultz on the high bounce, throws to first and out by a step, Brady Casper. And one pitch takes care of the Oregon State right fielder.
That's an interesting first swing pitch by Brady Casper after your pitcher, Aiden May, just got extended into the mid-40s in pitches, right? Your leadoff guy, most likely you would like to think you'd take a couple just to give him a little bit of breather.
The overshift on defensively for the Green Wave for Elijah Hainline. Shortstop, the transfer from Washington State, looks at a strike. 273, 10 homers for Hainline.
How many umpires are in the stands tonight?
Almost 4,000. Honorable mention all Pac-12 for Elijah Hainline. That's down low, 1 ball, 1 strike. 10-game hitting streak for Hainline snapped last Thursday, and the Beavs win against Arizona State at the Pac-12 tournament. And he's hit just 1 homer in his last 16 games. And again, 10 on the year. It's 2-1 on Hainline, who last year hit .337 with 12 bombs for Washington State. A lot of nervousness right now around the ballpark with the Beavers in an early hole. Good breaking ball that just missed.
Now we have the same type of game that we had in our game 1 when Nichols State scored every inning. Nichols scored. Irvine came back and scored the same inning in their bottom half.
Out straight back by Hainline, and we had the game of the day in game 1 here. Just a wild roller coaster ride where Nichols came back from a 9-1 deficit against UC Irvine, taking the lead in the 9th inning on a 3-run blast from Edgar Alvarez, the Southland Conference Player of the Year. Hard grounder back through the middle, second hit for the Beavers. And Elijah Hainline, one out base runner in the second. And he's aboard for Trent Caraway, the third baseman. But so Nichols had the lead going to the bottom of the 9th, up 12-11. And a grounder to third that could have ended the ball game. An error on Gerardo Villarreal of Nichols kept it going, and then Caden Kendall with a 2-run single the other way, the walk-off for UC Irvine, 13-12 into the winner's bracket for the Eaters. And Nichols will play an elimination game tomorrow in the afternoon. Trent Caraway's return for Oregon State, as Caraway has been out since the middle of March. Injured his finger in Salt Lake City against Utah, March 16th. Limited duties, hitting .352 with 2 homers. But Caraway has only played in 14 games. He takes inside. Caraway, the freshman from Dana Point, down near
where I live.
Southern California.
Still can't say it, huh?
Where I live. California.
Okay.
Move to first, short lead, Hainline gets back.
But the upside of Caraway is why he's in this lineup. He hasn't been in the lineup, to Roxy's point, but just take a look at him. You want to throw him a ball right down the middle?
He began the season on a 9-game hitting streak with 5 multi-hits in those 9 games. And homered in each of his first 2 games as a college baseball player for Oregon State. Against New Mexico and Minnesota. Highly touted freshman. Again, has been out since mid-March. That one hit him. Got away from Chandler Welch, and the Beavers have 2 on with 1 out. That'll bring up Mason Guerra, the first baseman, but first a mound visit. Anthony Izio, the pitching coach for Tulane, heading out toward the mound.
Well, this is just to slow him down. Speaking of Chandler Welch, his club just got him 3 runs. calm him down, get a ground ball.
Looking for that shutdown inning here is Izio. Quick visit to the mound. So Welch, again, mentioned the son of a big leaguer and a former Tulane standout pitcher. His dad David, a couple of years at Tulane, also pitched in the big leagues with Cleveland and the White Sox. Elijah Hainline at second, Trent Caraway at first. Mason Guerra, hitting .240 with 10 homers, has been slumping here at the end of the year. Got off to a great start. He's got big time power. And he hit a huge homer last Thursday to snap out of his skid to help the Beavers beat Arizona State at the Pac-12 tournament.
Hit it a mile.
And his first homer in over a month. Honorable mention all Pac-12. 2 on, 1 out, 3-0 Tulane. Lifted back out of play. But Guerra, he had a 3-hit game against Arizona May 17th. Prior to that, he was hitless in 11 consecutive games, was 0 for 39. The average dropped from 297 to 235. It's now at 240.
Well, this is danger zone right now for Chandler Welch. Throwing with fastball middle. Whereas not going to get cheated.
Catches the outer half.
Nor will he swing.
Well, it may have been a couple inches off, but
although it's a prediction by me, so
2-2 on Guerra. Fouled straight back. So with 1 out, Hainline singled back up the middle. He's at second, and Caraway in his first at bat since mid-March, and wouldn't you know it, he got hit by a pitch.
Well, Welch has Guerra set up for something soft down and away right here after all these consecutive fastballs.
Line into left and a hit for Mason Guerra. Around third, Elijah Hainline will score. This gets all the way to the wall. They're sending Trent Caraway. Throw to the plate. Not in time, gets away. Backed up by the pitcher. Chandler Welch keeping Mason Guerra at second base, and the Beavs come right back, and they're on the board.
Well, Welch did throw something soft. Bad for him is that it middle instead of down and away, and Guerra hooks this ball down in the corner. And just like that, the Beavs cut this lead to 3-2. Get another look just out and over Gavin Schultz's glove. See Caraway.
2-run double by Mason Guerra. 1 out, the 9-hitter Tanner Smith, Oregon State catcher at the plate. 235 homers for Smith. As Welch, the pitch bunted. Nice one at the third base line. Gavin Schultz, the stretch, and they got him. Brady Marquette needed all of his 6'6" frame over there at first base. Big time stretch by Marquette.
It was a tremendous play on both ends. You see the bunt by Tanner Smith. And then the pick on the backside by Marquette.
And they're just going to put Travis Bazzana on. The All-American, the Pac-12 Player of the Year, who grounded out against Welch at the first. So with a runner at third and 2 outs, the intentional pass to Bazzana. Now keep in mind, Bazzana's also the all-time stolen base leader in Oregon State history. Didn't run as much this year as he did a year ago. Micah McDowell singled in the first, runners in the corners, 2 down. Oregon State has bounced back with a couple runs already here in the home second. 3-2 Tulane. Weak grounder. Marquette Fields, underhands, race to the bag, and it's won by Welch. For the outside, retired, but Oregon State gets a couple runs. A 2-run double by Mason Guerra. 3-2 Green Wave after 2. Coming up, we'll talk to the skipper of Oregon State, the former Beavers standout, Mitch Canham, next. The Beavers, their 3rd consecutive season with 40 or more wins. Program record for homers this season for Mitch Canham, the former Beavers standout, managed in the minor leagues, and of course Oregon State. 3 national titles in the last 20 seasons. And some of the standouts of the big leagues: Adley Rutschman, Michael Conforto, Jacoby Ellsbury. We can go on and on. Stephen Kwan flourishing with Cleveland. As we welcome in Mitch Canham, the head coach of Oregon State. Appreciate the time, Mitch, and a great response by your team. Get down early. How much does that settle everybody in when you can have a response like that?
That's big. Getting those guys on base. You know, Caraway getting back in the lineup, getting hit by pitch right there, and a big knock from Meso, driving in a couple runs. That's good energy right there. It's called picking up your guy after a rough half inning right there. But hopefully May jumps out there and responds and starts filling this bad boy up.
Well, speaking of Aiden May out there, we saw some running down and feet shuffling in the pen. Was that just because of pitch count early?
Oh, you got to keep guys moving and stretching, right? But he did a great job right there, staying composed. We had a couple balls, ball gets away over at second base, tips off Mason's glove as well. But he gets that comebacker and turns and makes a nice double play feed.
Mitch, you get to watch Travis Bazzana play every day. One of the best players in America, and he's going to go high in the draft. Just how special is it for you to be able to work with him and see him play every day?
It's incredible. That boy, we say going high in the draft. Thank you. We say go high in the draft, and in my opinion, he's the first guy to go. We're very fortunate to get to watch him go about his business, and he wants to improve each and every day. He's a very special human being, no doubt.
Mitch, appreciate the time. My umpire's got some business to take care of here.
Got it. All right, thanks.
Mitch Canham, the head coach of Oregon State, as the ruling on the field was out, and May fielding the comebacker, but then watch this to first base.
Well, that will happen sometimes from a pitcher when they get the ball in their fingers rather than the palm of their hand. Once you get the ball and you start flipping it with your fingers, that will cause a flip to go straight up in the air rather than the palm. Let's see if we can get a better look. Where's the ball? It's in Guerra's. When he comes down, well,
it's bang bang. And again, the ruling on the field was out at first base, and the call made by Eric O'Shea, our first base umpire. And our umpires are in communication with the replay command center. This was a challenge by Jay Ullman and Tulane.
I think that last look is the best look we had.
The rules: you get 2 challenges per game.
Ball and glove. Guerra.
It's the left foot. Where does it land?
Now, I think honestly there's not enough to overturn that.
So you think we're looking at a call stands as opposed to confirmed either way?
This is a better look right here.
Overturn.
This is a better look. Yeah. I'm looking at call stands, not enough to overturn.
Brady Marquette leading off the 3rd for Tulane as the Green Wave got 3 in the top of the 2nd. 2-run single by Connor Rasmussen highlighting the inning for Jay Ullman and Tulane, while the Beavs came back. Mason Guerra, that 2-run double in the bottom half of the 2nd inning. So with Wes Clements and our ESPN crew, we're at Goss Stadium at Coleman Field, the Corvallis Regional, hosted by the number 15 national seed Oregon State. There's one more look at it as we zero in on the bat. And they have called him out at first base. So Tulane is got 1 challenge remaining. It's one of those plays where you're an Oregon State fan or in the dugout, you're holding your breath, you're gasping when you see the ball leave the hand of Aiden May.
Yeah, it's, again, we're talking about an Aiden May who just executed a perfect.
Awkward swing foul from Gavin Schultz, who struck out in the 1st. The cleanup batter for the Green Wave. It's the heart of the order against May in the Tulane 3rd.
A perfect 1-6-3 double play to get out of that mess in the 1st inning.
First team All-American for Schultz, and he pops this one out of play. Tight quarters here at the ballpark in Corvallis. Feels like every seat here at Goff Stadium at Coleman Field is right on top of the plate. A lot of orange and black. Yeah, not an empty seat anywhere.
It is interesting when you go to any diner, eatery around here, the talk, you don't have to look around, just you can hear the talk. It's at every table. Beavers.
This is a college town in the ultimate sense, Corvallis, and a great college town at that. Front door breaking ball, catches him looking. 5 strikeouts for Aiden May, and there's 2 gone in the Tulane second, or third rather. Two gone, Michael Lombardi, who walked to start that 3-run rally, and the second and scored a run will climb in. And Aiden May could use a 1-2-3 inning considering the elevated pitch count because of the second inning.
Well, if he can get through 3 innings in less than 60 pitches based on how the game started for him, job well done.
Normally has outstanding command. You see the velocity 95 with the heater. He'd walked 18 in 63 innings coming in. He's already walked a season-high tying 3. Now that was one of the issues when May was at Arizona, was the command, and he was all over the place.
He was a pitcher that you'd watch him throw in the bullpen, and it was like, how does he ever get hit? Ever. And then they would run him out in the mound, and you'd see that same guy. And then the next start, he'd be somebody else. He's put it all together for the most part for the Beavers this year.
6-0 and a 2.71 ERA coming in for May. At the knees, Aiden May from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and again went to Arizona, started at Pima Community College in Arizona, and then transferred up here. That one skips. Can't say bounced in the dirt because there is no dirt on this playing surface. It is all field turf, artificial. And there's Aiden May. Look at his season last year at Arizona as opposed to this year in Corvallis. But there is the 4th walk he has issued tonight. And a 2-out base runner as Michael Lombardi is on for Matthias Haas.
Well, they are staying consistent with Aiden May. They just called a 3-2 breaking pitch to the 5-hole hitter and Michael Lombardi, and that's what they've done the entire year, the Beavers.
Haas walked and scored in the second inning. A well-traveled right fielder for Tulane as he began his college career at Brown, and he's from the Bay Area. And Oakland went to Bishop O'Dowd, 2 years at Brown, then 2 years at Cal Poly, playing his final season at Tulane. Lombardi at first, 2 outs, and it's fouled off of the plate by Matthias Haas. And it's 1-1.
But we have stayed consistent from game 1 to game 2. Anytime the visitor scores, home team scores.
Outer half of the plate from Aiden May. 1-2 on Matthias Haas. Beautiful Friday night in the Pacific Northwest. Gorgeous tonight in Corvallis. Michael Lombardi at first, the pitch, and that's ball 2.
You know, I just love driving on the streets here. They're all tree lined, and you just look like you're going through a magical forest right down the middle. Now I know you're smiling because you're wondering if I'm going to turn left or right and turn the wrong way.
Or go into a tree. Because you're just mesmerized?
That could happen.
Swing and a miss, got him. Struck him out, 95 from May, who's got 6 strikeouts. Heart of the order coming up for Oregon State as we go to the last of the 3rd. You're watching the NCAA Baseball Championship presented by Capital One. Perfect Friday night for baseball. in the Pacific Northwest in the Willamette Valley. Corvallis, Oregon, Corvallis Regional. Heart of the order for the Beavers in the home third. 3-2 Tulane. Gavin Turley, Dallas Macias, Brady Casper for Oregon State against Chandler Welch. The junior righty blows the fastball by the powerful Turley, who has 18 home runs this season. Fly out for Turley to deep right center in the first. And it's 0-2 on the Beavers DH.
Well, that's just 93 painted on the outside part of the plate by Welsh.
Turley, who was drafted out of high school by the Diamondbacks in the 19th round a couple of years ago. Turned him down, native of Chandler. Not far from Chase Field there in Phoenix. Wanted to play college baseball here at Oregon State. Rounder foul from Gavin Turley.
The only ball that Welsh has thrown middle of the plate is the one to Mason Guerra. Everything else has got some run on it, inside on right-hand hitters and tailing away on left-hand hitters.
Count holds 1-2 on Gavin Turley. The pitch. Swing and a miss, struck him out. Elevating and off speed. And for Chandler Welch, his first strikeout.
Well, you saw the velo at 86. This almost looks like a cutter up in the zone, intentionally thrown. He just took a little bit off.
One gone, Dallas Macias, the cleanup batter, left fielder, ground out of the first inning. So Chandler Welch, pitch, and a half swing, and it's in there, called strike to Dallas Macias. And for Chandler Welch, his last start, he pitched against Wichita State. Went 3 1/3 innings in the championship game of the American tournament. Did not factor into the decision through 70 pitches. Giving up 2 runs, none of which were earned. And 5 hits. And it was a quick turnaround for Welch, who also pitched against FAU in the American tournament. Popped up into shallow right. Connor Rasmussen, who was playing deep at second base. And there's 2 away. Take a look at our bracket for the Corvallis Regional. With the thriller earlier today, this saw UC Irvine, the roller coaster ride, into the winner's bracket for the Anteaters. And heartbreak for Nichols, who's now 0-9 all time in the NCAA tournament. 5 of those 9 losses by 1 run, including their opening round game in each of the last 2 years in heartbreaking walk-off fashion. Brady Casper, a ground out of the second. He is 0 for 1. You just feel for Nichols, and look, they show their toughness and grit, rallying from 9-1 down.
It's a tough thing when you're up here, right? We don't root for anybody, but we care what's happening down there for kids and the players. And you just hated to see how it happened.
I don't think the crowd liked the call.
How many? 4,000 and how many umpires?
Ball and a strike on Brady Casper. Chandler Welch. Swing and a miss. But I would fully expect Nichols to turn the page and get ready to go tomorrow in an elimination game with their season on the line, despite how the ball game ended today. And they'll play the loser of this game.
Well, I think it's the beauty of baseball, right? It doesn't matter how you lose or you lost the previous day. You get strapped up another day and come back tomorrow and play. And a perfect example would be the Pac-12, how it was won by Arizona. This Oregon State Beaver team took game 1 and 2 and dominated the Wildcats. And the Wildcats came back in the last game of the regular season and beat this Beaver team.
A walk-off hit by Brendan Summerhill for Arizona at High Corbett Field in Tucson. And so Arizona won the Pac-12 championship, then they won the Pac-12 tournament championship, beating USC in the final. And a full count now on Brady Casper.
An Arizona team preseason pick to finish 9th in the pack.
Full count on the Beavs right fielder. The wind really picking up toward left right now. Pulled on the ground, past first, foul.
But the wind has literally changed, right? It was blowing to right at 1 o'clock today, and now it's blowing pretty good out to left.
Do it again, full count on Brady Casper. Chandler Welch. Another foul will do it one more time with Casper.
Well, that's that hard slider from Welch.
Welch now 48 pitches. 3 times this year he's thrown north of 100. But again, coming back on somewhat short rest in each of his last 2 outings. Comebacker on a smooth bounce, handled by Chandler Welch, gets the out. 1, 2, 3 go the Beavers. Through 3 in Corvallis, Tulane, the 3-2 lead on the top seed in this regional. We alluded to the game earlier today between Nichols and UC Irvine, and this was the Southland Player of the Year. Edgar Alvarez bringing Nichols all the way back and giving them a 12-1 lead. They rallied from 9-1 down, and that homer put them in front. And then the winning hit for UC Irvine, Caden Kendall, after an error prolonged the inning for the Anteaters. They capitalized, and the walk-off hit, the 6th comeback in the bottom of the 9th for UC Irvine this year. A pop-up, and handling it is Travis Bazzana behind first. 1 pitch, 1 out in the 4th. Bottom of the order for Tulane here in the top half of inning number 4.
And that Irvine comeback came with their leadoff hitter making an out to lead off the bottom of the 9th. Just incredible. I think I've said this before. It's the greatest game in the world. Twice, I think. This is the second time I've said it.
1 pitch takes care of Colin Tuft. Marcus Klein, a fielder's choice and an RBI, and it's 0-1 on the Green Wave shortstop. Aiden May, who was walked 4, he struck out 6. And you wonder where his butterflies and emotions are considering postseason start. Pumped up, overflow crowd, drive to right off the bat of Klein. It is off the top of the wall. Brady Casper chases it down as Marcus Klein ends up at second, just missed a home run.
Well, this is a fastball up to Marcus Klein, and he hits it right on the button. We talked about the wind changing. If it hadn't changed, this ball would have been 3/4 of the way up through the bleachers. Luckily for the Beavers, hits the top of the wall, and Klein ends up on second. Kind of happy.
1 out double, the 9-hitter, and the dangerous 9-hitter, Jackson Lynn, the hero from the American tournament last Sunday, the walk-off homer to beat Wichita State. And at strike 1, 16 homers for Lynn in the 9th spot in the order. And a Tulane team that led the American in home runs. They have hit 90 this year, and they also lead the American in fewest home runs surrendered. They're a plus 46. Grounded to short. Up with it, going to third is Hainline, and the tag out at third base is Marcus Klein. Running on the ball in front of him, and Jay Ullman thought he was safe, and the umpires are going to get together here.
Well, Marcus Klein, the ball's at you or to your right. You're not going to go. You see this, the throw beats him, but to Jay Ullman's point, he might have a point.
Well, the tag appeared high up on the left arm.
The ball beats him. There's no question about it, but does his left arm get to the bag?
Again, Trent Caraway playing at third base in his first game since mid-March.
It's up in the air. It's the glove. Boy, again, do we ever get anything that's obvious anymore?
Brian DeBrouwer, the third base umpire, made the call.
And keep in mind, if Tulane is wrong here and they lose this, they're out of challenges for the rest of the game.
After challenging the Brady Marquette ground out in the first. And
let's see.
Did not get the call.
Ball in glove. Let's see where Marcus hand gets.
Is there enough to overturn it?
Not from what we're seeing.
Again, the ruling on the field you see from Brian DeBrouwer out at third as Marcus Klein trying to advance on the ground ball in front of him. And Elijah Hainline, the Oregon State shortstop, seeing it and going to third. Regardless, Jackson Lynn will be at first. Just a question of will it be runner at first, 2 outs, or if it gets overturned, runners at the corners and 1 out for Tulane. And the Green Wave leading Oregon State 3-2, and the umps taking the headsets off. We have a ruling, it appears. All right, they're going to call him out at third base. And now Tulane is out of challenges as Jay Ullman going 0 for 2. 2 outs. Runner at first, back to the top of the order for Tulane and Connor Rasmussen. A 2-run single and that 3-run second. And speaking of Jay Ullman, we will talk to him coming up as we head to the bottom of the 4th. He's busy coaching third right now. Strike to Rasmussen, who's 1 for 2. But Tulane 35-24 this year. They finished in third place in the American, but winning the automatic bid for the league by winning the tournament in Clearwater last weekend. And an Aaron Pickoff throw that hits off the body of Jackson Lynn and rolls just a few feet away where Mason Guerra goes to pick it up. But one of the biggest turnarounds, in fact tied for the biggest turnaround in college baseball this season, along with Florida State for the Green Wave.
Good slider there from Aiden May.
10th NCAA tournament for Tulane. Or correction, 23rd NCAA tournament for the Green Wave. And their 10th conference tournament title this year. But an offense for Tulane that leads the American in homers, walks, total bases, slugging percentage, second in runs scored and doubles. Runner goes outside, throw to second by Tanner Smith, not in time. And a steal as Jackson Lynn motors into scoring position. And for Lynn, his 7th stolen base.
Well, Jackson just gets a great jump at first. Top of your screen, you'll see it. This almost works like a pitch out for Tanner Smith. That's just speed from Jackson Lynn outrunning a baseball.
Elevating May, the strikeout is 7th. A runner left for Tulane. 3-2 Green Wave to the bottom of the 4th, and Jay Ullman joins us next. And traveling out to the Pacific Northwest, back-to-back tournament championships for the Green Wave under Jay Ullman in his 2nd season leading the Green Wave, and the most wins in 8 years for Tulane. That's had a lot of success in a proud program, a couple of appearances in the College World Series for the Green Wave, and a guy that's no stranger to the Pacific Northwest, Jay Ullman, joining us from the Tulane dugout. And what has been the biggest key, Jay, for your team and the improvement this season?
It's the addition of the influx of some talent and graduate transfers and older guys to complement the returning core that we have. And we've bolstered our pitching pretty well. And this young man on the mound has had a fine year to date. So just a lot of development physically, mentally, emotionally.
Well, Jay, you've made 2 consecutive years back-to-back runs winning the tournament to get in the tournament. Last year, you won the tournament and went to LSU Regional. You did it again this year. What is it? What is it about your club that seems to be able to put it together at the end of the year?
I think they want it. They believe. You know, when you talk to them, you can see that sparkle and that look in their eye. They're just they're a determined group, you know, and they really want this. And I think last year's experience, although it was awful during the season, to be able to make a magical run like we did and beat a really good ECU team last year, and then go through it undefeated this year and finish it off with a walk-off. It's just, you know, it's the power of belief. When you get a group of guys together that love each other and believe in each other, you know, anything can happen. And just really proud of their resolve and their toughness.
You've been at Tulane now for a few years, and you were elevated to head coach. What's been different for you now that you're the head guy as opposed to when you were an assistant?
I don't. The day-to-day grind of coaching guys up is not the same when you're a head coach versus an assistant. So, you know, I'm a relationship-based guy, so I really get in there with them still and love them up and have fun with them. But my attention goes in different directions because I'm more of the CEO type, where, you know, you got to fundraise and you got to be the face of the program and recruit and those kind of things. So there's differences, but it's awesome because you get to do things the way you want to do them. And you know, I've worked for a lot of tremendous people, Coach Horton and you know, Richie Price at Kansas, and Tony Bloomfield at LA Harbor Community College, and then Gary Powers at the University of Nevada. So I've had a lot of positive influences in my time.
Well, Jay, as you well know, when you get an opportunity against a Friday night guy, which is Aiden May and one of the best in the country, get an opportunity to get him early. You guys did a pretty good job to get him early, and now Welsh is starting to settle in.
Yeah, you know, I really was wanting to extend the lead there. Marcus, I was hoping Tuff got on. I was going to try to move along with Klein, but he ended up doubling. And then, you know, obviously, unfortunate base running mistake there that got him out there. I thought he was actually safe. I think it was a banger, but, you know, but again, the resolve of the group is fantastic. And, you know, the guy on the mound's a pretty darn good boxer.
Last thing for you, Jay. You're no stranger to this neck of the woods. What's it like back up in the Northwest for you? It's
a tremendous area. We have a lot of fond memories, a lot of friends here today. You know, as many battles as I've been a part of with this Beaver group, I have a tremendous respect for this program. Pat Casey, now Mitch is done and doing, and all his assistants. And, you know, this crowd is tremendous. There's nothing better than playing in front of a crowd that has a feel and a pulse, and it's just a tremendous experience for us to be here.
Jay, appreciate the time. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. Appreciate y'all.
Jay Ullman, 2 outs, couple of ground outs to Connor Rasmussen at second base, and a big swing and a miss by Mason Guerra with a 2-run double in the second. And Jay spent 8 seasons, 2 stints down the road at the University of Oregon with George Horton as an assistant coach. In fact, his wife is from Eugene. Now, didn't meet her there. He met her before, and it just so happened they came back to her hometown, where her dad was a longtime professor at the University of Oregon. She went to South Eugene High School. That's why Jay needed so many tickets for friends and family with the extended family up here in the Pacific Northwest. 0-2 on Guerra. Fouled away. And he alluded to George Horton, who restarted that Oregon program after a long absence.
Affectionately known as Georgie. Spent some time over at Cal State Fullerton with the Titans.
0-2 on Guerra. And he lifts this one out of play. And the count holds 0-2 on the Oregon State first baseman.
But George was involved in restarting that Oregon Duck program.
They hired him before there was even a program.
Right.
Pat Kilkenny was the athletic director at the University of Oregon, and he wanted to bring back baseball. Now, a lot of people up here in Corvallis will argue the reason Oregon brought baseball back was the success that Pat Casey was having here, winning national championships just 45 minutes up the road in Corvallis. Oregon, of course, won up to it, but each has their own opinion of the situation.
And rightly so.
hit sharply on the ground into the shift. Stationed on the left side of second base, staying with it. And Connor Rasmussen makes all 3 plays in the bottom of the 4th as Chandler Welch is retired 7 in a row. 3-2 Tulane onto the 5th in Corvallis. The NCAA Men's College World Series begins Friday, June 14th, the 45th consecutive year. It's on ESPN in the 22nd straight year. Every game is on ESPN. Finals begin Saturday, June 22nd from Omaha. For more information, go to ncaa.com. Your home for all 90 NCAA championships. 3-2 Tulane onto the 5th, 2, 3, and 4 for the Green Wave. T.O. Banks takes ball 1. For 2 tonight for the Tulane center fielder. An overflow crowd at Goss Stadium at Coleman Field. Record attendance tonight in Corvallis. There's a bouncer foul. 4,278 squeezed in to this ballpark.
And if they had the ability to put 8,000 in here, there'd be 8,000.
Just tell the fire marshal to look the other way. They're wedged in everywhere. Late is Banks. As Aiden May has struck out 7, he has walked 4. And Tulane getting all 3 runs in the 2nd. And the Beavs got a pair in the bottom of the 2nd inning. After an 11-pitch abbreviated inning, much needed for May, who had to battle through the 2nd inning. Pitch count already up near 80. The Friday night guy for Oregon State, their #1 pitcher.
Well, keep in mind, he was in the 40s, the low 40s in inning 2. So he's cleaned it up quite a bit.
On the ground, left side and through. T.O. Banks hit #4 for Tulane. A leadoff base runner. And Banks now an 11-game hitting streak. Leadoff base runner for the Green Wave. That'll bring up Brady Marquette, who's 0 for 1 with a walk. Slugging first baseman for Tulane. And we were talking about May in transferring here to Oregon State from Arizona. Had an inconsistent season last year for Chip Hale's Wildcats. And part of the reason May transferred here was Jacob Kamatz, who was another starter for Oregon State. And Kamatz and May were high school teammates. And not only high school teammates, they've been best friends since they were about 7 years old. And when May was looking around when he entered the portal, Jacob Kamatz was a big reason why Aiden May ended up at Oregon State.
And they lived together in the sacred pitcher's house. Isn't that what Mitch Canham called it?
You have to earn your way into that house.
You got to earn your way into the house where they live.
But both May and Kamatz from Albuquerque went to Sandia High School. Kamatz came straight here out of high school. May went to a junior college, Arizona, now Oregon State. Fouled back by Marquette.
Well, one thing Mitch Canham told us on Thursday as we sat in his office, he said Aiden May, he's a leader in that clubhouse.
And that's interesting for a guy that just joined the Oregon State program last summer. (0-2) on Brady Marquette. T.O. Banks, the runner at first. There is Mitch Canham, standout catcher for Oregon State in his own right. Advantage in the minors is a swing and a miss. Marquette down swinging. 8 strikeouts for May.
Just a tremendous changeup, straight change. The bottom just drops right out of this. It's the bottom, just say bye-bye.
1 gone for Gavin Schultz. The cleanup batter has struck out twice. He is 0 for 2. Mitch Canham managed in the Seattle Mariners minor league system. played for Pat Casey here. And coming back, a local hero after his tremendous playing career for Oregon State. A hand-picked successor for Pat Casey, Mitch Canham.
Well, Mitch was a member of that 06 and 07. Both of those back-to-backs.
Of course, Oregon State winning another one not too long ago, 2018. In the air, right center, ranging over. Brady Casper reaches up and makes the catch into the alleyway. And T.O. Banks jogs back to first. Good ride the other way, but a great break on it by Casper. 2 outs, that leaves it up to Michael Lombardi, the DH.
Well, that wind is swirling out there, Roxy. It sure looks like it's swirling because Brady had a ball that just the wind knocked straight down, and this ball looks like he's got a beat on it, real simple right here. But watch it take off right at the end.
Michael Lombardi's walked twice and scored a run tonight. Does not have an official at bat just yet. 3-2 Green Wave, top 5. Good breaking ball, sweeps in there for May. And May, it's interesting that most pitchers find their comfort zone, will stand in one spot on the rubber, and that's where they work from. Not this guy.
Moves around.
Yeah.
But they're pitchers, okay? Pitchers a little bit different. You keep thinking that T.O. Banks at first is going to take off here with 2 outs. He can steal bags. He's like 7 for 11. Worst case scenario, he gets thrown out. Best case scenario, in scoring position with 2 outs.
Swing and a miss. 9 strikeouts for May. Leadoff single is stranded. Heading to the home half of the 5th. Still 3-2 Green Wave. Did we find Mike Rooney here in Corvallis with the bucket hat?
With the bucket hat?
Just trying to blend in. He got
well, hold on.
You got shirt.
Well, okay.
I know it's supposed to be in the studio with Squeeze Play, but
okay, the bucket hat's on the right, but what's the 2 hats to the left?
Buckets galore. Tanner Smith, the 9-hitter, followed by the top of the order, Travis Bazzana, Micah McDowell in the Oregon State 5th. 3-2 Tulane. Sacrifice bunt for Smith in the 2nd.
I should start getting some bucket hats.
Here's a strike.
You know, why is your mind spinning right now?
You need to protect the dome.
No,
so I'm not
disagreeing with you. No, I don't need to protect the dome. The dome needs to get sun.
Big swing and a miss by Tanner Smith. Junior catcher from Chandler, Arizona. 3 runs on 4 hits for Tulane. 2 runs, 3 hits, and error for Oregon State. And the pitch. That's down and away to Tanner Smith.
Well, we talked about Aiden May's pitch count being up there. How about Chandler Welch for Tulane? Super efficient going into the 5th with just 66.
Keep in mind, each of his last 2 outings have come on short rest. Or shorter rest than he's used to. Normally the college pitchers are used to a week in between outings. Welch, each of his last 2 innings have been on the 5th day. And then this one is on the 5th day.
Well, it's a big pitch. You lose Tanner Smith, it flipped it right over to Mr. Bazzana.
The Pac-12 Player of the Year on deck. And Smith draws a leadoff walk, and that's trouble for Tulane.
Well, they went with the cutter instead of the fastball. You saw a little bit of tail on it. It's an interesting pitch to the 9-hole hitter with Bazzana on deck, nursing a 1-run lead.
So here comes Travis Bazzana, the Aussie. Grounded out in the first. He was walked intentionally in the second. And again, Kylie McDaniel, ESPN's Major League Draft analyst, has Travis Bazzana ranked as the #2 prospect in the country.
He's such an advanced hitter, is Bazzana. And he's got great plate coverage on the outside part of the plate, which is what scouts rave about. His strike zone knowledge and his ability to cover the entire plate.
Line to right and a single for Bazzana. Tanner Smith stops at second base. And there's 2 on with nobody out for the Beavers.
It's just a fastball and it's down. But Bazzana goes down to get it. That's that happy zone that they've said for 1,000 years. Don't throw a lefty down and in.
Activity beginning in the Tulane bullpen as a mound visit for Anthony Izio, their pitching coach. Chandler Welch had retired 7 straight, entering the bottom of the 5th with a leadoff walk to Smith. And now the sharp single to right for Bazzana.
Well, this is probably twofold, to buy a little bit of time for the pen. And just to try to calm down Chandler Welch. Not that he's been out of shape out there, but he's just going out there to talk to him. But again, now the ball switched on the other side to Mitch Canham. What are you going to do? And they're going to have an offensive conversation and a meeting down here, because you're chasing 1 in the bottom of the 5th inning. You got #2 hitter coming up in Micah McDowell, who can run. Let's go through the scenarios. If you bunt him and Micah McDowell successfully and you move the runners to second and third, keep in mind you have Tanner Smith, who's the catcher, at third base.
Second base.
Or second. Well, no, if you moved him over.
Oh, if you move him over.
If you moved him over. See, I got that right. See?
Just testing you.
Yeah.
Just to see.
Sure you were.
If you're sure of yourself.
So I said if you moved him over, Tanner Smith is at third base. It's going to have to be a normal to deep fly ball to get him in on a sac fly.
McDowell singled in the first, 1 for 2. Tulane clinging to a 1-run lead. And McDowell takes ball 1. McDowell, who was hitting up over 400 going into the final weekend of the regular season, seen his average dip down to 381. Catches the outer half of the plate.
Well, this Beaver lineup, normally when you face a club, if you're Jay Ullman, you'll look at the opposing lineup, you say, I don't want this guy to beat me. And it's easy, right? Bazzana. But there's normally some, I don't want to call them free spaces, but there's some guys you think you can get out. Not so much in this Oregon State Beaver lineup. I mean, there's no place where you can really breathe.
McDowell missed some time, missed a few weeks mid-season with an oblique issue. He's back to feeling good. 2 on, nobody out. Chandler Welch. And that runs inside to McDowell. Two and 2.
Well, here's your money pitch for both of them. For McDowell and Welch.
Left the breaking ball outside. Full count, this overflow crowd. Record crowd in Corvallis. 4,278. In this air to center field, breaking back, and it drops in front of T.O. Banks, who misplays it, but recovers. Stopping at third is Tanner Smith. They're loaded with nobody out in the home fifth for Gavin Turley. Soft liner to center, and McDowell's second hit tonight.
Well, it's a ball that gets in on the hands of Michael McDowell, and watch him, he kind of fights it off, and then the instincts of a center fielder initially are to take one step back and then you pick it up and you'll go in, and Banks tries to deke the runner Smith at second, thinking he's going to catch it. No such luck. Tanner Smith doesn't bite. Beavers bases loaded. No outs.
0 for 2, Gavin Turley. Leads Oregon State in RBIs and a drive. Way back and left. Grand slam. Oregon State has taken the lead.
Well, this is a fastball up in the middle of the zone, and Gavin Turley does not miss it, and it exits the yard in a couple of seconds. As you see Lynn just look up, they can do nothing about it.
5th Oregon State slam this year. 6-3 Beavs. Ground ball back through the middle. Off the glove of the diving Connor Rasmussen, trickles away. Dallas Macias thought about second base. Stays at first. 5 straight Beavers have reached to open up the home fifth. Need to correct myself. The 5 slams. Yes, Oregon State has at least 5 because that's the 5th grand slam for Gavin Turley this year.
That's all?
And that'll be it for Chandler Welch. And the Beavers have chased him in the 5th, and the Oregon State offense has erupted. Well, Gavin Turley, his 5th grand slam of the season.
He doesn't miss it. This ball is middle and up. And I had to double take when you said what you said. 5th grand slam of the season.
And it just got out of here over the high wall and left for Gavin Turley.
You're talking to some fans?
I got 5. 5. How many? 5.
I did that for you.
See, high five now.
High five.
He was making sure you knew that was his 5th.
You got the fist. 5 finger. No, it's a 4-finger fist, by the way.
And a thumb. I got you.
No, no contact with the thumb.
New pitcher for Tulane, Henry Shuffler, comes in as the 6'7" junior for the transfer from Louisiana Monroe. He's from Lafayette, Louisiana. He's had a strong season for Tulane. So Chandler Welch was rolling. He'd retired 7 straight, but the Beavs got to him here. 3rd time through the order in the 5th. Strike to Brady Casper, who's 0 for 2.
Well, you mentioned, Roxy, that Welch threw a lot. And not so many days. In the tournament, he might have just been gassed.
4+ innings. Runner goes, swing and a miss. Colin Tuft's throw to second, and a beauty, and out trying to steal. Dallas Macias gunned down on the money. What a throw by Colin Tuft.
Well, we talked about Tuft being the leader of Tulane. Watch where he throws this from, and this is on a swing and miss. It's a swing and miss, and just a dart on the first base side of second base, and Marcus Klein lays down the tag.
That was a beauty from Tuft. Close the book on Chandler Welch. He gives up 6 runs, 7 hits, and 4+. Throwing 77 pitches, but just didn't have the same zip tonight. Only 1 strikeout. And you wonder if a little bit tired.
Well, he had the velo. He had the velo. His velo was, it got up to 92, 93, but it was his location where he suffered.
2 gone here in the last of the 5th. Elijah Hainline, 1 for 2 with a run. The Beavers shortstop the batter. Shuffler part of the good backhand of the bullpen for Jay Ullman. Along with Jacob Moore. Michael Lombardi does a good job. And that's a foul at the plate. No, he's out. No, foul ball. The umpire pointed first
Wait,
base.
which one?
It's a foul ball.
We did see him.
He did point to first base as if he was
Right,
out.
He did.
Mark Hutchinson. But it's a foul ball for Hainline at home plate. The transfer from Washington State. That one fooled him. Well, those levers. Shuffler at 6'7", 235.
That's all.
It's tough to pick up the baseball.
Well, it's kind of like our open when you stood on a box to be 6'7".
And I towered over you?
And you towered over me, and I let you do it. See, I didn't get offended.
Oh, you let me do it?
Well,
like you had a choice. Fouled off by Hainline.
Well, it's been going on for 10 years. I find it, you know, you look up, and so I need to look up one time.
You've always looked up to me, but now
you're filling in the blanks with somebody else.
You literally did. Figuratively, you did it for years. One and 2 on Hainline. Tulane led at 3-2, but the Beavs have erupted here in the home 5th, courtesy of Gavin Turley. Swing and a miss, struck him out. Couple of strikeouts for Shuffler, but the damage is done. Gavin Turley doing his thing.
Well, he's done it, and he's done it how many times? Well, you see his hands right there. 5 grand slams, as he tells the Beaver fan.
Some Beaver fans hanging out in Casey's corner for the legendary Pat Casey, who guided Oregon State to all 3 national championships. And the legendary coach. Aiden May delivers a strike to Matthias Haas. 6, 7, and 8 for Tulane in the 6th. Colin Tuft, Marcus Klein to follow, and now Tulane trailing for the first time tonight. Haas has walked and scored and also struck out, and he was fooled by May.
Well, May with the opportunity to get a shutdown inning here. And boy, does he need it.
Way outside. May with 9 strikeouts, tied for the second most in a game this season. His career best, he had 14 strikeouts, throwing 8 innings of shutout, 1-hit baseball against Oregon, which endeared him to the Oregon State fans back at the end of April. He was already pitching great for Oregon State this year. That was a season most, 114 pitches also for May. Walked only 1 in that brilliant performance against the Ducks, who got a big extra inning win in Santa Barbara today against San Diego. Grounder foul by Matthias Haas.
The game against the Ducks, for me, I watched that game. It was incredible. I mean, he was electric on the mound.
Two and two on Haas. Probably is the last inning for Aiden May. Skied over toward the right field line, moving over toward the line. Brady Casper waiting for it to come down. One gone. This week's Sunday night baseball matchup in the city of brotherly love. The Cardinals and the Phillies, they met in the wild card round a couple of years ago. Phillies, the best record in baseball. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Radio. I'm a huge Doug Glanville fan, by the way, on ESPN Radio, just so you're aware. Our coverage begins 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific with Baseball Tonight Sunday night countdown. A drive to left, it is deep, and it is gone in Tulane. Colin Tuft, a home run. 12th of the year for the Green Wave catcher, and a run back for Tulane.
Well, it doesn't surprise Tulane's fans because we talked about the leader that Tuff has been the entire year. We talked to Jay Ullman, his skipper. It took him a half a second when we said, who is the leader?
12 for Tuff, the transfer from Virginia who played in Omaha at the College World Series last year. Swing and a miss by Marcus Klein. 1 for 2 with a double and an RBI. And interesting about Tuft that he left Virginia because they basically told him you're not going to be the catcher. And he was the backup to Kyle Teal last year, who went to the Red Sox in the 14th overall pick last year in the first round. And then he wanted to catch every day, and Jay Ullman in Tulane gave that opportunity. He's had a phenomenal season. 100 pitches now for May. 1 out in the 6th. Roll to second base. Travis Bazzana gobbles it up, and there's 2 away.
And Rox, we'll get a look at the home run from Tuff right here. This is a hanging slider. Aiden May said, I didn't want to throw it there because Tuff likes it there.
And that one was way into the air.
But you mentioned Tuff was at Virginia. And this is a positive about the portal. It's Tuff's story, right? Because not everybody has this type of story that goes into the portal, where you think the grass is greener somewhere else. But in this case with Tuff, it's worked out perfect.
He wasn't going to be the catcher for Virginia.
Right.
Wanted to catch. Ends up finding a great spot at Tulane. And it's worked out well for Colin Tuft this year. 2-0 the count on Jackson Lynn. 0 for 2 tonight. And he fouls this one away.
And you see the fastball velo is at 92 right now with Aiden May. It's not his normal velo. He's sitting up around 94, 4, 5, 6. That could have been what would be called a BP fastball.
Looped, pushing back into the crowd,
which is just taking something off. But
and again, just the 3rd time May has thrown at least 100 pitches in a game this season.
He's at $105 right now. I'd be surprised to see him go back out another inning.
And his 3rd trip through the order, grounded to 3rd, backhanded behind the bag, and dropped at first base by Mason Guerra as the throw skipped from Trent Caraway, and a 2-out base runner for Tulane to bring Connor Rasmussen to the plate.
Well, the ball gets on Caraway pretty fast. He makes a good play. And then the throw over to Guerra at first is where this ball gets spiked. And initially it looks like Guerra thinks he has it.
Rich Dorman, the pitching coach for the Beavers, headed out toward the hill. Infield hit for Jackson Lynn. That is it. And Aiden May is lifted after 5 2/3. And Oregon State will go and turn it over to the bullpen, leading at 6-4 in the 6th in Corvallis. May, 5 2/3, 9 strikeouts, despite a season-high 4 walks issued, leaves with a 6-4 lead.
Well, again, he gave the Beavers an opportunity to win this game and come back, which they have so far, but this is not the Aiden May that we have been used to seeing the entire year, although we see some good body language right there. His pitch count got up, and you see he's not too happy.
At least he's using his non-pitching hand.
Well, again, that's the last thing. You know this. Yeah. You've done big league games forever. Pitchers have a habit of sometimes using their hands to hit something.
It derailed the Oakland A's 2014 season when Drew Pomeranz punched a chair in the clubhouse, was lost for the year.
There you get a look at Nelson Keljo.
6'4", 230-pound left-hander. There are his numbers. And Keljo has been pitching well recently.
Well, you see the 49 punch-outs in just 36 innings, and immaculate command with only 14 walks.
Runner at first, 2 outs. So Keljo, who last worked against Arizona State, he was phenomenal out of the bullpen in the win against the Sun Devils last Thursday in Scottsdale at the Pac-12 tournament. 4 hitless innings with 4 strikeouts, walked 1. And did not allow a run in the 3-2 Beaver win. 2-0 on Connor Rasmussen, who's 1 for 3. He's driven in 2 tonight for Tulane. Good fastball from Keljo. This dude can bring it. Jackson Lynn, the runner at first. The homer by Tuft here in the inning, getting a run back for the Green Wave. And we have the 2 top home run teams in their respective conferences. Oregon State, a school record. They've hit a home run tonight. The slam by Gavin Turley. And Tulane leading the American in homers this year. The 12th for Tuft. Batter half and a strike.
Well, that's just some gas on the outside part. 2 back-to-back 94-mile-an-hour fastballs on the outside part. 1 for a strike, 1 for a ball.
Hit in the air over toward the left field line. Dallas Macias coming over. Camps under it. He's got it. Side retired. Runner left for Tulane. Heading to the last of the 6th, bottom of the order for Oregon State. The Beavs up 6-4. You're watching the NCAA Baseball Championship presented by Capital One. Corvallis, Oregon on a gorgeous Friday night in the Pacific Northwest. Along with Wes Clements and our ESPN crew, Roxy Bernstein with you. 6-4, the host and top seed in this regional, Oregon State, leading Tulane after trailing early, and an overflow crowd of nearly 4,300. Goss Stadium at Coleman Field, record tonight attendance. Bottom of the order for the Beavers in the home 6, Trent Caraway, followed by Mason Guerra and Tanner Smith.
Don't you get the feeling that tomorrow night there'll be a new record?
It has that potential.
You agreed with me?
Doesn't happen often. Pushed the other way, bounding ball that gets through under the glove of Connor Rasmussen. And Trent Caraway in his first game since mid-March, because of the finger injury, is aboard for the 2nd time.
Well, Rasmussen, the second baseman for Tulane, had Caraway shaded up the middle. And this is just beautiful hitting by Caraway. Hit it where there ain't.
Lead-off base runner, Mason Guerra, 2-run double in the 2nd. Good to see him for the Beavers. It's a wild pitch from Henry Shuffler to the backstop as Trent Caraway takes second base. But for Oregon State, a great sign that Mason Guerra is working his way out of his funk. He was in a deep slump for a while.
And it happens in this game. You stay in it long enough, you're going to have streaks where you go 1 for 15, 3 for 25, 3 for 55.
He was 0 for 39. He had a 3-hit game right at the end of the regular season in Tucson. And had a huge homer last Thursday against Arizona State to beat the Sun Devils and give Oregon State a win at the Pac-12 tournament. And got the Beavers on the board. They trailed 3-0 going to the bottom of the second. And a 2-run double.
I always feel it's easier to evaluate a player when things are not going well. When things are going well, everything's joyous for whoever it is. And it doesn't matter what sport. But you'll learn more about a player when things are not going well than you will when they're going well.
Even the best players in the game go through tough stretches.
But it's how they deal with it. They understand it's a part of it. But it all starts with confidence. Regardless, if you're not getting hits, you feel confident.
Guerra hard on the ground is short. Scooped up. Marcus Klein. Low throw to first. The stretch by Brady Marquette. And there's one away as Caraway stays at second base for Tanner Smith. And it was Smith who started that rally in the last inning in the 5th with the leadoff walk.
He sure did.
How many times do you see it, Wes? Leadoff walk, comes around to score.
What was the percentage?
137% of the time.
No, it's 250. 250.
And the 5th slam of the year for Gavin Turley.
I got a stat for you.
On the ground, backhanded at third. Gavin Schultz breaking for third. Caraway. Marquette double clutches, will eat the baseball and heads up base running as Trent Caraway gets third. How about that hustle play for the freshman?
He does. Caraway reads this throw from Schultz at third. But because Caraway does this, watch Marquette on the other side. Marquette almost leaves the bag early because he's so concerned about trying to come off and get Caraway running to third.
For the second time tonight, Tulane has put Travis Bazzana on intentionally. Runners at the corners, 2 outs. Micah McDowell is 2 for 3 with a run. And again, Jay Ullman knowing that he can't let Travis Bazzana be the guy to beat him. Take the bat out of his hands.
We've watched Travis Bazzana this year, and I think the most impressive thing for me with him, you can look at the numbers. Yes, they're impressive. But how he changes based on his game situation in the box is amazing. Perfect example a couple weekends ago at Arizona when they're playing in the championship game, the last game of the regular season, in a 2-2 game. In the 9th inning, Bazzana's leading off. Most would think, well, if he leaves the yard, game's over.
Bazzana running. Throw to second. No. Tuft will hang on to it, and a steal. Is Bazzana the all-time steals leader in addition to homer leader in Beavers history? Adds to his total.
But in that situation, when he came up in a 2-2 game, all he wanted to do was be a leadoff hitter, and that's exactly what he did. He hit a base hit the other way as a leadoff hitter.
66 career steals for Bazzana. Swing and a miss by McDowell. Good breaking ball from Henry Shuffler. Second and third, 2 down. 1 and 2 on McDowell. The other way, base hit for McDowell. Here comes Bazzana charging around third. McDowell a 2-run single. 8-4 Oregon State. And McDowell makes Tulane pay for the free pass to Bazzana.
Well, we just saw the stolen base for Bazzana to get in scoring position, and McDowell, it's an off-speed pitch away. McDowell hits it away, You see Bazzana in the lower part of your screen. Just a big 2-out, 2-run single from McDowell.
3 hits for McDowell tonight, or we call him the Big Mick. You know McDowell's from Coming to America. Come on.
How many times? 10 years you sat next to me and you're looking at me like you're shocked that I don't know something that you talk about. Baseball? I got it. Maybe.
5th slam of the year for Turley back in the 5th. He has 19 homers, a team best 73 RBIs. Micah McDowell at first with 2 away, and Oregon State has extended the lead. And again, the trend, Wes. Visiting team scores in the top half, the home team has come back. We've seen it all day today here in Corvallis.
The first game we had at 1 o'clock, the same thing happened. Nichols scored, Irvine scored. And here we go again.
Turley did not get cheated.
Did you hear the crowd?
They felt the
very
breeze.
Rarely do you see a swing and miss and go, ooh. You hear the entire 4,000 go, ooh.
Nice pick by Colin Tuft.
Wow, the athleticism from Colin Tuft behind the dish. He's not a small man either, by the way. He's looking eye to eye to Turley.
Two and 2 on Gavin Turley. 3-hitter for Oregon State. There's McDowell at first base. Got him. Struck him out. The side retired, but 2 more for the Beavers. We're through 6. Oregon State leading the American Tournament champs Tulane 8-4. Well, it was certainly a bizarre weekend in Scottsdale last weekend because that was the final Pac-12 baseball tournament. The league will continue, but not as we know it. 29 national championships won by Pac-12 schools, far and away the most in the country, and it's not close. Conference that has the greatest history of any league in college baseball and tradition. 5 Hall of Famers right there, not to mention 15 MVPs, 14 Cy Young Award winners.
And a skipper that's going into the Hall of Fame in Terry Francona. My
last
prediction.
National champion for the Pac-12. Oregon State, Pat Casey's team in 2018. And look, you and I are both proud products of the conference. As now there's some confusion and an offensive timeout, as now T.O. Banks making his way toward the dugout. As for Jay Ullman, Justin Bridgman runs the offense for Tulane. Now a little bit of a huddle after T.O. Banks a little upset. And it's 1-1 and summoned over to calm him down as Banks, one of the captains for this Tulane team. But look, you won a national championship playing at Arizona. Part of those 29. The Wildcats have won 4 titles. ASU's won 5. USC you saw has won 12. Oregon State 3. Cal's won 2. Stanford has won 2. UCLA has one under John Savage. Hit sharply into the hole and through. There was some anger behind that base hit from T.O. Banks.
Well, how about that coaching? Call a timeout. Tell Banks calm down a little bit. He bangs one in the left field for a base hit.
Hit number 6 for the Green Wave and the second for Banks tonight. He's at first for Brady Marquette, who's 0 for 2 with a walk. And look, you and I are heartbroken about what's happened to the Pac-12. And it's just sad.
It is. I mean, I think we went through the anger, the real bad anger when it initially happened. Then we went through some sadness, and then we were there last weekend. both of us.
Ground ball to second base. Travis Bazzana goes to second. They get the force, and that's it. They get the lead runner Benz. And Marquette is on with one out. And of course, you and I signed off for the Pac-12 tournament with an emotional send-off, and because the conference means a lot to both of us.
It does. It does. And it's, you know, I think past the anger, you go, and then you celebrate it, just what it was. It was the best conference in the history of college sports, and there never, ever will be a better one.
And not just in baseball. And the moniker Conference of Champions, which of course was championed by my good friend Bill Walton. But it's true. When, not just with the illustrious history in baseball, but every sport across the board. And it's not just the success they've had in the college ranks as hopping around home plate as Gavin Schultz. But you look at the international success. And I was texting with John Wilner, who writes the College Hotline, a longtime writer in the Bay Area, covers the Pac-12. And he asked me, okay, give me your top 5 athletes in the history of the Pac-12.
Good luck.
And I couldn't do it.
Well, you can't do it.
And you go up and down the conference and across the board, not just what the accomplishments on the field, but what about off the field for Jackie Robinson, Arthur Ashe, Tiger Woods,
Flojo, right?
Cheryl Miller, Sabrina Ionescu,
and then
Katie Ledecky, Matt Biondi. You go on and on and on.
And then we're up in Oregon, Steve Prefontaine, right? And then it is amazing. And look at the Women's Softball World Series is in Oklahoma City. It's going on right now. The Pac has won. They've only had 40 championships. The Pac's won 24. 24 of the 40.
Chopper to third. Trent Carraway. Low throw to first, and it pops out of the glove of Mason Guerra, and a break for the Green Wave. An error, and there's 2 on with 1 out, and an opening for Tulane.
Now, Guerra has played some third base earlier in the year for the Beavers. He had some trouble catching the ball, quite frankly, and so did Hainline as well, the left side of the infield. Now, they've cleaned it up a little bit, but they've moved Guerra over to first. But again, everybody thinks you can just throw anybody over and play first base. Now, I know you look at me, Roxy, and say, well, they did. They threw you over there. I get it. I understand. But that said, it's not an easy position to play.
Not even Mitch Canham's that's dumb.
well, but it's not an easy position to play correctly.
Third error tonight for Oregon State. Michael Lombardi has walked twice, and now he's hit by a pitch. Or is it a foul ball? Jay Ullman coming over saying Lombardi should be at first base right now, but the plate umpire will converse with Brian DeBrouwer, the third base umpire. They're going to discuss this. Keep in mind, Tulane has no challenges remaining.
One thing we've found out,
it appears he's staying at home plate.
We're going to take a look at it. Well, here's the problem on both sides. If you're Mitch Canham, does he pull the bat back before the ball gets there?
Fouled back by Michael Lombardi. So the bunt was a foul ball. And it's 0-2 on Lombardi with 2 on and 1 out. The defense has struggled tonight for the Beavers. They lead at 8-4, so they've been able to overcome it so far. Strike 3 call to Lombardi. 2 gone in the 7th.
Well, that's just 95 right down the middle and just locked up Lombardi for a big second out of this 7th inning. keep in mind, this is after he squared the bunt, Lombardi, and the ball was in at 95. This is 95 middle away.
2 on, 2 out for Matthias Haas. 0 for 2 with a walk and a run. Called strike.
One thing we've learned today from game 1 is there's no such thing as a safe lead.
Oregon State competing with one of 3 Pac-12 teams in the field. Arizona hosting the Tucson Regional, and Oregon, the bitter rivals of Oregon State, as the 3 seed in Santa Barbara in extra innings beat the 2 seed San Diego. The 0-2. Fouled off.
Well, that's a good job by Haas, just staying alive. That ball's almost by him.
0-2. Brady Marquette at second. Gavin Schultz at first. Swing and a miss. He blew him away. Time to stand and stretch as Oregon State proudly representing the Conference of Champions. Well, the Women's College World Series in Oklahoma City as UCLA in the opening round beat Alabama. Stanford coming back through the elimination and leading Oklahoma State 4-0 right now. And the Women's College World Series in Oklahoma City.
Can anybody beat Oklahoma, Roxy?
Well, UCLA hopes they can do it on ABC tomorrow.
They sure do. And
Kelly Inouye-Perez, the coach of the Bruins.
They are back for a vengeance after getting knocked out in their own regional by Grand Canyon last year.
Middle third of the order for the Beavers in the home 7th, leading at 8-4. Dallas Macias, Brady Casper, Elijah Hainline against Henry Shuffler.
You know, and the committee put Grand Canyon right back in that regional. You think that was coincidence?
There were no such thing as coincidences. Pulled sharply past first base. Dallas Macias, a fair ball. Little pinball in the corner. Macias thinking about 3. Turns and then slams on the brakes. Second hit for Macias and a leadoff double to start the home 7. 14th double for Dallas Macias.
Well, we'll get a look at this. This is fastball in. Macias hooks it right inside the first base line. Does a good job of base running. I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what that celebration is.
He had a karate kick in there in the middle.
Sweep the leg, Johnny.
Sprinkler? Sprinkler kick? I don't know. I have no idea.
Brady Casper 0 for 3. Take strike 1.
That's a situation I've always believed. It's just a beautiful situation with the runner at second and no outs. It's real simple for a left-hand hitter. Hook the ball to the right side, move that runner to third.
Chopper up the first base line. Tuft makes the play. To third goes Macias on the 30-footer off the bat of Brady Casper.
Now Casper's not going to be happy about it, but not being happy and getting the job done, moving Macias over to third with less than 2 outs, his job well done. And when he gets back to the dugout, his teammates are going to tell him, good job, just to remind him.
Boy, Brady hit the snot out of that one. Way to advance him.
No, I'm just telling you, when he goes back, they're going to say, hey, you got him over. Wasn't pretty. Forces Tulane to play the infield in.
So the infield up for Hainline. Elijah Hainline 1 for 3 with a run. 1 out. Dallas Macias at third. Now Brady Casper did appear to be frustrated going back to the dugout, but you're right. It was a productive out.
And of course, at the highest level now, the productive outs are few and far between. It seems and it appears. Doesn't mean they can't come back.
It's also crazy right now. We're approaching 8:30, and look how light it is still up here in the Northwest.
It's beautiful.
Another foul from Elijah Hainline. And we still have probably another hour before it's going to be dark.
It's when the wolves come out up here in the Pacific Northwest.
Don't worry, Wes, I'll protect you.
No, you won't.
Just missed. Well,
the viewers know if they've listened to us enough.
I just need to outrun you because.
Well, that's really going to be difficult now, isn't it? Jeez. Oh, my goodness.
Here comes the 2-2 pitch to Hainline. And it's full now on Elijah Hainline. Activity in the bullpen for Tulane. Infield up for the Green Wave. Shuffler needs to keep that runner at third. And he gets the strikeout. Fourth strikeout for Henry Shuffler.
Well, they go soft right there, and they get Hainline to fish after it for a big second out of this inning. Now the infield can play back.
So 2 down, Macias at third, leaves it up to Trent Caraway. His return to the lineup, 1 for 2. He scored 2 runs tonight. Look, he can take as much BP, swings in the cage, but facing live pitching in a game is completely different.
There's no question. There's nothing that can assimilate a live game at bat. There's just nothing. Because for a century, hitters don't like live BP when it means nothing.
High chop, it's going to be a tough play. And it skips through Marcus Klein. And Caraway is on. Macias is in. And you could see Klein peeking at where Caraway was because he knew he had to hurry.
Well, if you ask Marcus Klein when he goes in the dugout or after the game what he could have done possibly, the minute this ball hops, he's got to go get it. He's just got to go get it, because the second hop, there's not a chance in the world. But if he sits back on that ball, there's no chance it's going to go his way.
And even if Klein had fielded it, I don't know if he gets Caraway.
No, because he's going back, because the ball is bouncing high, and so he's got to lift his glove, and his momentum's going backwards. But the only way he can make that play is go get it and hope that he can cut it off.
Single and an RBI for Caraway. 9-4 Beavers. Mason Guerra 1 for 3 tonight. The big 2-run double back in the second. There's a strike to Guerra. Trailing 3-0 early. It's now 9-4. Host team of this Corvallis Regional, the number 15 national seed, and a running jump and stealing second base, standing up as Caraway. Shuffler just ignored the runner.
Well, as did the middle infielders, and Rasmussen is playing second base. He didn't even offer. Watch. The middle of your infield, you see Rasmussen. He gets stuck out in no man's land.
Fourth steal for Caraway, and Guerra down to a knee with a mighty cut. Comes up empty. Side retire, but another run for Oregon State. We're through 7. Bottom of the order coming up for Tulane. 9-4 Oregon State. The NCAA Baseball Regionals are presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Mine, nothing. That's because of my...
People had to open their wallets to get in here.
They did.
Overflow crowd of close to 4,300. Record-setting night at the Turnstiles in Corvallis for day one.
If I had to use my wallet for my teeth.
Oh, boy. Bottom of the order, Colin Tuft, who homered in the 6th, takes a strike. Marcus Klein, Jackson Lynn to follow. And Tuft backs out of the way of a pitch down and in. It's been an eventful week for Wes Clements already, and we're only at Friday night, game 2.
It has. It has. In a nutshell, it started with an expired driver's license. Trying to get on an airplane because it was my birthday a few days ago. That was difficult. Then I had to use my Korean ID, which I had from being in the KBO over there. Seemed to not go too well, and I had to put that away. Rental car license wasn't going to work.
Strike 3 to Tuft. And that's 3 punch-outs in a row for Nelson Keljo. And there's one gone here in the 8th.
It's a good slider by Keljo. After so many fastballs at 95, he dropped his slider on the outside part. So then I had to renew my license online on my phone. That took 30 minutes. Then we came to the yard.
This was yesterday for the workouts, as Marcus Klein doubled in the 4th, 1 for 3 with an RBI.
Hank Hager, who is SID for baseball here, we're standing on the left field line. I get drilled in my left shoulder with a foul ball.
But that's not why you had the tooth problem.
No, it's not, because then I was hungry. Roxy, of course, ate without me and didn't care that I was hungry. So he says, let's go down to the truck and we'll get some power bars and things like that. Well, we did. Came back up. And it was a couple bites in that I said something that I can't say now, and Roxy said, what happened? I turned right, and my front tooth was missing. Just like that. Gone. Gone.
Chased it. Speaking of gone, Marcus Klein gone swinging. There's 2 away.
And so at that point in time, Hank, once again, the VIP in Corvallis, hooks me up with the dentist. And Ryan,
and instead of scaring America,
there's the dentist.
There's the guy that saved everybody's eyes. Dr.
Ryan Sparks saved the day.
Rounded to 3rd, gobbled up by the new 3rd baseman Jamin Trotsky across to 1st, and he makes the play in a 1-2-3 inning and a brilliant play at 3rd by Trotsky, who took over for Trent Carraway. To the bottom of the 8th, 9-4 Beavers. Baseball Regionals, NCAA Baseball Championship presented by Capital One. As we're on to the bottom of the 8th inning, 9-4 Oregon State, and a new pitcher for Tulane. The Beavs up by 5 runs, and dare I ask, Wes Clements, any relation?
Will Clements is on the mound for the Tulane Green Wave, and the answer is no. I do not know Will Clements. I will tomorrow introduce myself.
Well, he's from the Woodlands in Texas. There are the numbers for Will Clements.
Well, you see the ERA, but just 33 in 2/3 innings, 19 walks has been an issue.
Tanner Smith leads off the home 8th, 9-1-2 for Oregon State. And Smith walked to start that rally in the 5th, and he scored a run tonight. And a strike to Smith. Do you have a cousin named Tom?
No.
Okay, that's his dad. I'm just trying to see if there's
But again,
a connection.
not that I know of. You know, I did one of those, what do you call it?
Family tree?
Yes, I did. I did the family tree. And it ended up being useless because it does nothing. It makes you have to go do the work. I thought they were going to come back and tell me everything. They didn't tell me anything. All they did is took my money, and I was excited. I opened the email, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to find some cousins across the country, the world, some Germany.
Find out you're some heir to some
billionaire. That's what you were hoping.
And Tanner Smith says, hey, wait a second. That shouldn't be a strikeout. And he wants the first base umpire to get involved. Where here comes Mitch Canham, the head coach for Oregon State. Some confusion, and still at home plate is Smith. And the plate umpire, Mark Hutchison, says, yeah, Tanner Smith's the strikeout victim. And there's one out here in the bottom of the 8th, and this is what happened. And he thinks the ball hit what would be the dirt. I saw some pellets fly up from the field turf, so I'm wondering if it did indeed get trapped along the artificial surface.
Well, Tuck backhands it.
One out here is Travis Bazzana. 1 for 2, has scored 2 runs. He's been walked intentionally twice tonight. Bazzana drills one, center field, going, gone. 27 for Bazzana, and the all-time home run leader in Oregon State history adds to his total.
We've said all we can say about this youngster. He's as impressive a hitter that we have seen in a long, long time.
10-4 Beavs. Micah McDowell 3 hits tonight, his 4th 3-hit game of the season. He's been a big part of the Oregon State offense tonight and has made Tulane pay for walking Bazzana intentionally. Travis Bazzana adding to his total, 44th career home run, 27th this season.
You know what's interesting? We talked about his character, right? Mitch Canham, that's all he wants to talk about. We know that he can play baseball, and Travis Bazzana, but Mitch Canham told us a story about Mitch was watching his kids play Little League, and he thought he saw Travis walking on the other side of the field. So he called him and said, what are you doing right now? And Travis said, well, I'm at the Little League game. And he said, why? Well, he said he had promised a kid that was going to play Little League that he'd come and watch him play. That's who Travis Bazzana is.
I'm sure that kid has enjoyed watching Travis Bazzana play.
There's no question about it. Another story, they had a karaoke fundraiser and there was dancing as well. And Travis showed up the next day, and
there's a smash back through the middle and a 4-hit night for Micah McDowell.
And Travis said, Skip, I'm going to be a little sore today. And Mitch is like, well, why? Well, I was dancing like till midnight in that fundraiser. And now Jimmy Nadai of Stanford, him and Travis are best buddies all the way back to Australia. They came over here in the same tryout camp in Phoenix. And that's where they made their mind up where each wanted to go, but they're in communication daily.
Jimmy Nadai had a strong season for David Esker in the Cardinal. Travis Bazzana has emerged as one of the elite players in college baseball. Over the last 3 years, Kiley McDaniel, ESPN's Major League Draft analyst, has him as the #2 prospect. Running is McDowell, and the throw skips. Out, trying to steal, and McDowell wants to challenge this. He thought he beat it. So this is an Oregon State challenge here in the bottom of the 8th.
Well, that was immediate from McDowell. He went directly to his ears to signal to Mitch Canham, review this. We'll get a look. What do you got, Rox? It appears
I think he's safe.
It appears the foot, finally we have something that looks discernible to turn over. Tag. Looks like he gets his left foot in on the bag, but
to me this call should be changed, but it's not up to us, the replay command center.
It's not, but you know, we talk a lot about tough for Tulane behind the dish. This is such a, his feet are so quick, and that's the key to being able to throw well as a catcher. It's how quick your feet can be, and his feet were electric on his throw. Yes, he spiked the throw, but you can afford to do that on a field like this. It's turf because you're going to get a true bounce, and Marcus Klein gets a true bounce on this, but this is all about feet.
So the challenge by Oregon State, the ruling that McDowell was out trying to steal. If it stands, there are 2 outs and nobody on for Gavin Turley, but we tend to think this might get overturned.
I agree with you. For the first time in what, 10 years?
Sometime you'll figure out, Wes, that a lot of times I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, as we look around this beautiful yard, Roxy, there's nobody is left this yard. This is
all right. Headsets off, and upon review, they've overturned it. And Micah McDowell credited with a steal.
Yeah, look at Micah's out there. I told you.
And that means that Oregon State with a successful challenge, and Mitch Canham still has 2 to use. 1 out, McDowell at second for Turley, whose grand slam put Oregon State in front back in the 5th. And crazy to think the season that Turley has had as he fouls that off at the plate. He has homered with the bases full 5 times. 5 times. 5 times.
I find that if you told anybody in baseball that that's what's happened, somebody did in one season, you just say, no way, it didn't happen. It's impossible.
Another foul from Turley.
But he was well aware of it, as he told the fans. Put up 5, that's 5. And they gave somebody the high 5. And then the fist.
I think he was making sure they knew he has 5.
There was some communication.
And he was saying, I got 5 on it.
What'd you say?
Whatever
Come on,
you
Wes.
said.
Well,
you had to do a double take there.
I did, because folks, you just got to understand. When Rox gives me a look like I've messed something up, it's frightening.
Good pick by Colin Tuft.
It throws me off. Good pick, but just the athleticism is. You know, Caleb Lomavita, the Cows catcher, who's going to be a first-round draft pick this
Kiley
year.
McDaniel has him in the middle of the 1st round.
Right, and you know, Tuff reminds you a lot of the athleticism that Caleb has.
Mound visit for the pitching coach, Anthony Izio for Tulane. They're going to make a pitching change here in the bottom of the 8th. Gives us an opportunity to remind you, Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Saturday night on ABC and ESPN Plus, the Florida Panthers trying to close out the blue shirts of the New York Rangers. Panthers up 3-2, trying to go to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. And for the third time in Panthers history, Florida and the Rangers. Game 6 from Sunrise, Florida, tomorrow.
I'm only concerned about one team, the opposite team that you want. I want the Oilers to win.
New pitcher for Tulane is, take a look at our bracket, and the new pitcher is Taylor Montiel in the game for Tulane. And the winner will get UC Irvine tomorrow night. And Nichols, after heartbreak earlier today, will come back tomorrow afternoon and take on our loser in our first game of the day from Corvallis in the Corvallis Regional.
Boy, that Nichols club was so impressive to come back being down 9-1 in the 4th inning, to get the lead in the top of the 9th inning.
There are the numbers for Montiel on the season. So game 1, you just mentioned it, Wes, in a wild ride earlier today. The homer, Nichols, the Southland Player of the Year, Edgar Alvarez, putting Nichols in front for the first time, only to see UC Irvine walk it off at the bottom of the 9th, and the winning hit from Caden Kendall.
And it's something UC Irvine had done the entire year, is these come from behind wins. But this game was a game where they thought they had it well in hand, up 9-1. But Nichols said, nope, we came here to play, and boy, did they come to play.
Got to give them a lot of credit for battling back and the heartbreak, and they'll try to move past it tomorrow. So Taylor Montiel takes over for Will Clements. Two on and one out. For Dallas Macias, 2 for 4 tonight with a double and a run. Third of an inning for Clements. Gave up 2 hits and a walk. And the homer to Bazzana. With a strikeout for Clements. So Montiel, transfer from Mississippi State, Brentwood, Tennessee native. Strike 3 call. Ring him up, says the plate umpire Mark Hutchison. Catches Macias looking, and there's 2 away.
Well, that's just this arm slot that Montiel throws from, it's 3/4, and it's 94. Just locks up Macias.
2 on 2 out for Brady Casper, who's 0 for 4. Half swing and a roller to third. Gavin Schultz charging on the move, makes the play, side retired. But the homer by Bazzana extends the lead for Oregon State. The Beavers are up 10-4.
Well, MLB clubs are hoping to get Mr. Bazzana. Who gets him? Nobody knows. But when they get him, they got a baseball player.
Top of the order for Tulane as we've reached the 9th. And Oregon State 3 outs away from moving into the winner's bracket against UC Irvine tomorrow night. And for the Beavers, it trailed at 3-0 going to the bottom of the 2nd, but it's been all Oregon State since. Nelson Keljo continues on the mound, fouled away by Connor Rasmussen. 1 for 4, 2-run single back in the 2nd. Beavs with 2 in the 2nd. The slam by Gavin Turley in the 5th. In the air toward center, over toward the alleyway, over and in is Micah McDowell. 1 out in the 9th. And for Keljo, that's 6 in a row he has sent down. He has been terrific out of the bullpen.
And rightly so. What's coming out of his hand, you're talking about 95 for fun, and they might go get him right now.
He's thrown 35 pitches, and here comes Rich Dorman. He looks toward the bullpen, and a call has been made for Oregon State. Nelson Keljo works 2 2/3 in relief. And now the Beavs. And a standing ovation for the overflow crowd of 4,278 in Corvallis for the terrific performance from Keljo.
At Jiffy Lube, we carve our cars. In fact, we're kind of obsessed. It's why we've been taking car business with quick quality service for over 40 years.
Are you saying?
Well, Gavin Turley leaves the yard. The sacks were juiced, and he's used to this, and he's very successful when the sacks are juiced. As you can see, he puts up the number 5. This is the 5th Grand Slam this season for Gavin Turley.
So there is Turley, who leads this Oregon State team with 73 batted in. And if you lead Oregon State in an offensive category on a ball club that has Travis Bazzana, you're doing something.
Well, you are, but again, he'll tell you, well, when somebody like Travis Bazzana is hitting in front of me and getting on base at the highest rate in the entire NCAA, I got a pretty good chance to lead the club in RBIs. A lot of opportunities.
Keljo goes 2 2/3 innings of scoreless relief, allows 1 hit with 4 strikeouts. And now it's their closer, Bridger Holmes, who will get the final couple of outs. At least that's what Mitch Canham is looking for. And there are the numbers on Holmes, who was lights out to start the year, hit a little bit of a bump in the road, but is straightened it out again for Oregon State.
Well, Bridger Holmes, he doesn't throw anything that's straight, Roxy, and he throws pitches at times that literally move 2 feet either side of the plate. He can rush it up there at 96 when he wants to, but he has the ability to throw 92, 93, 91 with the same pitch, and it moves all over the place.
A devastating sweeper that he throws. And hit batter, which unfortunately has been a bugaboo for Holmes this year.
It has, and it came to fruition in the last game of the regular season against the Arizona Wildcats when they were playing for the winner takes all, the Pac-12 regular season title. And he hit somebody in the inning where the Cats ended up scoring the game-winning run.
In 29 innings this season, Holmes has now hit 17 batters. And he has hit 7 batters in his last 4 appearances. Teo Banks at first, Brady Marquette. Strike 2.
And conventional wisdom will tell you, when you have a pitcher whose ball moves all over the place, left and right, both sides of the dish, you want your catcher to sit up right down the middle, right? And then let it run either way. But you would say the same thing with a changeup, because you never want to sit on a corner on a changeup for the most part. But his ball in defense of Bridger, it just moves.
Holmes in 29 innings, 42 strikeouts, has allowed only 16 hits. Strike 3 and the backdoor breaking ball. Ran it over the outside edge. 2 outs in the ninth.
We'll get a look at it. It's a backdoor slider. Perfectly located. Tanner Smith said, I'll catch that. Mark Hutchinson, Hope Plain umpire, said, I'll call it a strike.
Gavin Schultz swinging a miss. Holmes has 12 saves, but with a big lead, this is not a save situation. And even with the big lead, Mason Guerrero holding the runner at first. And now Tulane is down to their last strike.
think the crowd will let us know.
The middle of the order has struggled for Tulane tonight. They are 0 for 13 with 8 strikeouts. And Oregon State has finished off Tulane. And they are in the winner's bracket matchup tomorrow night against UC Irvine. 10-4, win number 43. The top seed in this Corvallis Regional and the number 15 national seed. 43-14 for the Beavs. Tulane falls to 35-25. And the American Conference Tournament champs will now need a turnaround, and a quick turnaround for Tulane against Nichols in the elimination game tomorrow afternoon.
Well, they will, but they came out, did Tulane, and got 3 runs on the board early against one of the best in the country in Aiden May. But this lineup we talked about of the Beavers, it's just impossible to run through this lineup and not give up some damage.
So the updated bracket for the Corvallis Regional tomorrow night. The Beavers and the Anteaters in the winner's bracket. But some Saturday afternoon baseball first. An elimination game. The 2 teams who flew here together from Louisiana will play each other to see who could stick around in Corvallis. Oregon State 10-4. They knock off Tulane. For Wes Clements and our ESPN crew, Roxy Bernstein saying so long from Corvallis. Oregon State pounds out a 10-4 win over Tulane. Day 2 coming up from Corvallis tomorrow.